This video contains elements that are not suitable for children under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey guys, Sean Fay-Wolfe of Diamond X Studios here. The charts are boring and I love it.
She needs something to change, need to take out the ass, so fuck it all tonight.
Talking about music in 2019, particularly the second half of 2019, has been kind of a difficult thing to do, because the pop music of the last few months has kind of reached this bizarre oxymoronic stasis of intrigue. On one hand, the top 20 this week contains Billie Eilish, the Jonas Brothers, Billy Ray Cyrus, and Lizzo, which is objectively pretty insane. And on the other hand, the top 20 3 months ago also contained Billie Eilish, the Jonas Brothers, Billy Ray Cyrus, and Lizzo.
I got the horses in the bag.
This year has had some of the wildest, craziest, and most outlandish songs in the top 20 that I've ever seen, but at some point they all just kinda stopped moving. Out of all the songs in this ranking, 9 of them are carryovers from last season, with 3 of those being in 3 or more of my rankings as of this week. I fully agree that it's time to flush the charts out and make room for some new blood, but I can't deny that when you take the staleness out of the equation, this top 20 is still filled with some pretty damn great pop music. This ranking might not feel as fresh or insane as my spring or summer rankings were, but in terms of quality, I'd argue that it actually outdoes both of my last 2 seasonal rankings. Yeah, I'm not kidding. We've got a lot to talk about today, both old and new, so let's shake off the overplay and take a look at...
Run away while we're running in circles. Run away, run away, run away.
Before we get started, I do have to point out that because Post Malone's Hollywood's Bleeding impacted the Hot 100 on the same week I'm doing this ranking, album bomb rules will be going into effect. This means that any new songs from the album that debuted outside the top 10 won't be counted in this ranking, and will be replaced instead by the highest ranking eligible songs outside the top 20. If you want to know what the top 20 ranking would look like with the album bomb songs in place, I will briefly go over it at the end of the video. Got it? Good. Let's go.
Everybody hurts.
In the eternal words of the Shadow God...
We regular internet morons are finding out that we have power. And some of us are using that power in horrible ways.
God, I hate myself.
Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all.
You fucking moron. This is your fault, you know that, right? It's your fucking fault.
Well, I mean, it's not entirely my fault.
Okay, so this isn't your fault?
Well, I mean, if you look at it objectively, it's not like...
Play the clip again.
Okay, guys, please do me a favor and stream this song so it becomes a hit, because there have legitimately been almost 0 terrible songs this year, and I really need a punching bag come December.
Explain yourself.
I thought it would be funny.
Funny? You thought it would be funny?
I mean, I didn't think people would actually do it.
Did you think people would... I'm sorry, but did you pay any attention to when this piece of shit was at the top of the UK charts for a goddamn month and a half and is going on to be the biggest selling song of the flipping year for us?
Look, I'm sorry, okay? I just assumed that people would...
Oh, you assumed, eh? Well, you know what they say, right? When you assume, it makes an ass out of you.
God, I get it! I fucked up! I'm sorry!
Damn right you are. I might not have been able to save my own stupid country, but I refuse to stand by and let this god-awful plague of a single affect another country's flipping charts. You got Americans in this mess, Sean. Fix it.
I promise I will do everything that I can. Fortunately, I think I do know the perfect time and place to take this song to task, and that time just so happens to be in about 2 months. I do recognize that the reasons why Someone You Loved is an absolute travesty of audio are... pretty self-evident, so I'm not going to waste my material now and instead save it for the moment of truth. I suggest that you savor every second until then, Chewis Capaldi, because when that time comes, it's going to be one hell of a bloodbath on your ass. Hey Mo, do you want to do me a favor and put me back together?
Piss off, mate.
Aww.
Bad things. It's a lot of bad things that they wish and they wish and they wish and they wish and they wish on me.
Well, good thing that tear transitions put broken fourth walls back together, which is obviously a real science fact that everybody knows. Yeah, this feels much better. So, what are we talking about next?
You the only one I'm trying to make love to, picking and choosing. They ain't really love you, running game using. Try you, test your patience. Tell them that it's over, ain't no debating.
Okay, in all seriousness, you may have noticed that this song has actually jumped up a tier since last time, and the reason for that is because the appeal of this song's beat finally clicked for me. Part of that may be because I hear this song being blasted out of at least one pill pretty much every time I walk across my campus quad, but whatever that reason may be, I kinda feel the beat now. It's got a sort of hip, laid-back, but still locomotive energy to it, and the melodies are kinda nice in their own right. Full disclosure, I've actually played this song's instrumental at night to help me fall asleep, and it worked very effectively. But Chris Brown is still a worthless performer, Drake's part has shrunk on me a fair bit, and the lyrics get worse every time I hear them. So, bad tier it is.
Bad bitches only, ain't no mediocre. Don't want no mediocre, I won't hit no mediocre, yeah.
Some of you were probably expecting me to come around on this one. Nope.
So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy.
Look, I get why people like this song. Hell, there are definitely aspects of it that I like, and it definitely deserved to become a #1 hit. However, the song's flaws are so glaring that I honestly like it less and less every time I hear it. I think I did a pretty good job explaining why in my summer ranking, so go watch that if you want a full commentary, but there is one thing that I want to clarify. A lot of people seem to think that the only reason I dislike this song is because it's an underage girl singing about wanting to seduce an older man, and frankly, that's not the whole story. First of all, I definitely should not have called this song Jailbaity. This is Jailbaity.
Tell me, baby, 'cause I need to know now, because
This is not.
white shirt, now red, my bloody nose sleeping. You're on your tippy toes.
So now that we got that cleared up, let me give you another example to help illustrate why exactly this song makes me so uneasy. Let's say, for example, that pure heroin era Lorde at age 16 had released a song explicitly about seducing an older man. I won't lie and say that idea doesn't make me uncomfortable, but I probably could have gotten around it as long as she didn't make a big deal about being underage in the song. The point of songwriting is to craft stories and characters, so if there was a song about a nebulous character desiring an older man that just happened to be by a 16-year-old, I mean, I wouldn't like it, but I could probably find a way to get past it. Bad Guy, on the other hand, goes out of its way to make sure that you, the listener, knows that she's doing something creepy and scandalous. Literally, the entire point of that second verse is about how her mommy is disapproving of what she's doing. The crux of her character in the song is that she's doing this to rebel against her parents, and newsflash, that's not something grown-ass women usually do. The subtext of rebellion, specifically teenage rebellion, is literally written into the narrative of the song, and that, combined with the desire to play the role of a submissive sex slave to an older man, makes Billy's age an unavoidable part of the song's identity, and that is the full story on why this song is so uncomfortable to me. Also...
I'm the bad guy. Whoa. Duh. 'Cause I don't care when I'm with my baby, yeah. All the bad things disappear.
I love how Justin Bieber's trying as hard as possible to be funny in this music video, when he's already made the funniest thing in the world in the last entry without even trying. And yeah, this one's grown on me a bit, by which I mean I'm now indifferent to its existence rather than actively angry. I mean, sure, the combination of Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber is basically the raspberry-infused Dasani of pop music, but hey, even a raspberry-infused Dasani is still perfectly capable of quenching your thirst if there's literally no better option. This song may be boring and redundant, but it's perfectly serviceable background noise and it isn't hurting anyone, so I really can't justify putting it in the bad tier this time. Look, it's better than Blow, that's all I'm saying.
Well, jump back, talk to me, woman. You make me wanna make a baby.
I never thought I'd see someone making the argument that rock and roll should stay dead, but by God, that is a valiant effort, Mr. Sheeran.
'Cause shade never made anybody less gay, so you need to calm down.
No matter what opinion I come to on this song, that opinion just doesn't feel right. I really like the hook and the production on the chorus, but then the beat on the verses is one of the most uninspired I've ever heard. I want to appreciate that such a genuine display of earnest compassion and solidarity with the gay community has become such a big hit, but then I have to think about how cringy the lyrics are and how Taylor tries to equate homophobic hate crimes to Twitter harassment. The end result is that I just end up feeling kind of indifferent towards the song, which is really strange considering that if there is one word I would never use to describe the public reaction to this song, it would be indifferent.
And snakes and stones never broke my bones, so
It just seems like everybody has such strong, passionate opinions about You Need to Calm Down, debating about whether it's uplifting or insensitive, or if it's really sincere or really awkward, or if it sounds beautiful or unfinished. And yet, literally the only thing that popped into my head once I was done listening to it is that it would make a great mashup with Sunflower. And now that I've made that mashup, there really isn't anything else I want to say about it, however much it might be worth talking about. I just can't really care about this song one way or the other, and trust me, I've tried, so all in all, I think I'm just gonna let it be. I fully expect to see this song on a lot of worst lists and maybe some honorable mentions of best lists at the end of the year, but it certainly will not be on either of mine.
baby, why don't you just meet me in the middle?
I know that I'm gone. They see me blowing up, now they say they want some. I got 2 twin blocks, turn you to a dancer.
I think it really says something about the ubiquity of trap music that we get a new bona fide smash hit in the genre from a complete nobody every couple of weeks or so. Seriously, do you remember back in the early 2010s when you had acts like Carmen and Rixton and Cher Lloyd who were able to have a massive pop smash and then totally disappear because pop was just that huge at the time? Yeah, that's the point we're at with trap music, and honestly, as far as mindless flex songs meant for college parties go, you can certainly do worse than Ransom by Lil Tecca. I mean, sure, the kid himself isn't really noteworthy in any way, but it's got a nice little beat and a good hook, and really, isn't that what pop music is all about? It's a total in one ear and out the other song, but it's just barely enjoyable enough that I'll be nice and call it decent.
I'm a sucker for you.
I think the point that the Jonas Brothers are back has been made, so this song can head out at any time now.
That's not who we are. We are not beautiful.
This song is on the razor's edge between decent and good. Though it is one of my favorite songs off of Ed Sheeran Networking Humble Brag number 6, Beautiful People is kind of like You Need to Calm Down in that every element that I like is perfectly balanced out by something that I'm less enthusiastic about. For example, the production has a really nice swell and grandeur to it. It feels like a big booming epic, but at the same time I do find myself getting kinda sick of it by the halfway point, and I'm not entirely sure why. Part of it may have to do with the singers. Ed Sheeran works this beat exceptionally well with the same soaring vocals he used on Castle on the Hill that really make the words he's saying seem even more personal, and then you've got Khalid. And you lost me.
True for hours last night and we made it nowhere.
Look, I like Khalid. I've stuck up for him many times before, but he's just not the right pick for this song. If Better taught me anything, it's that Khalid achieves his highest highs by going low, and this level of bombast doesn't suit him at all. And last but not least, I really want to like the message of this song, but the execution kinda rubs me the wrong way. On the one hand, yeah, the world of the elite can be superficial and vain, and taking it down a peg is a tried and true crowd pleaser. But on the other hand, hearing Ed Sheeran and Khalid being so judgmental, it's just weird. I mean, they're both such nice guys. Their other songs are all full of empathy and compassion and a carefree live and let live attitude unless someone has done something to hurt them personally. Hearing them talk shit about all these beautiful people at these parties doesn't make me nod my head with them as much as it just makes me ask what the hell these people did to piss them off. At least when Alessia Cara sang about how uncomfortable she was at a party, she realized that it was ultimately her problem that she had to deal with.
So you can't go back, please enjoy your party, I'll be here.
Ed and Khalid, meanwhile, just sound angry at these people for even existing, which frankly comes off as more bitter than anything else. So yeah, beautiful people. Definitely not a bad song, and I really want to like it, but it's just not clicking with me the way I want it to.
I mean, where the fuck should I really even start? I got hoes that I'm keeping in the dark. I got my niggas cross the street living large.
It's amazing how much better Drake sounds when he's not fucking everywhere. I've honestly always found that Drake has had a certain overplay resistant quality in his music, which never really gets a chance to shine because the overblown monstrosities that he calls albums push that overplay resistance past its breaking point 5 times over. But a standalone promotional single with a dark ambient bass line, a nice hypnotic flow, and a fitting guest artist that doesn't have an entire album of mediocrity cushioning it? I can get down with that. And yeah, I'm not exactly happy that Drake dragged Mr. She Ain't Even Know It back into the limelight, but then again, Drake has basically themed his entire year around buoying the careers of artists who deserve to be forgotten.
Tell them when I die, put my money in a crack.
Couple figures, kill a skull and collect. She fuck a nigga, then she on to the next.
But yeah, like I said, Rick Ross fits here. His deep throaty growl works nicely with the beat, as do his simple flows. This is exactly the kind of single that Drake should be releasing as filler. Ultimately meaningless, but with a nice slap to it.
Lil CC, let it slap with the bass.
By the way, can I just say how nice it is that Drake consistently shouts out his producers in the actual lyrics of his songs? I like that. I wish more people did that.
Trap money, Benny. I buy you champagne, but you love some Henny.
Also, did we ever find out if Morris actually loves him? No? Okay, just curious.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya.
This is pretty much in the same boat as Beautiful People, just barely on the cusp between good and decent. And I'll admit, this song's flaws are far more noticeable than those of Beautiful People. Camila Cabello is still a thoroughly mediocre performer, Shawn Mendes trying to be Bailamos-era Enrique Iglesias is utterly ridiculous, and him not singing the title on the chorus is just kind of awkward. But with all that being said...
Ooh, I should be running. Ooh, you know I love it when you call me señorita.
Hey, I don't know what to tell you. I'm a sucker for those steamy Latin elements, and I'm a sucker for some good harmonies, which Shawn and Camila have always had together. The two of them don't really have that much chemistry, but somehow they also have all the chemistry in the world, kind of the same way they did on I Know What You Did Last Summer. I can honestly see people hating this or loving this, and I can see a lot of people just not caring about it, but I have gone out of my way to listen to this a good few times, so obviously it's doing something right. Also, it's kind of astonishing to me that there are 2 love songs in this top 20 between Ed Sheeran and another guy, and yet Shawn Mendes is the one who can't shake off the gay rumors. Finn?
Oh, hey Sean, what's up?
Why didn't you tell me that you started making music?
I'm sorry, what?
I mean, here I am thinking you're doing all this acting stuff, and next thing I know I see your name on the Hot 100 with Ariana Grande? That's so awesome!
Sean, has all that body jumping knocked something loose in your brain?
I mean, I'm not gonna say no, but what does that have to
Because
do with...
I haven't been making music.
What?
I've been acting, just like I said. Actually, it's been going really well. I've been in 3 plays so far, and I've got 2 more lined up. Honestly, I'm living the dream and loving my life, but that life has definitely not led me to charting on the Hot 100.
What are you talking about? I mean, look, it says so right here. Number 25, Ariana Grande and The Social 2. Oh, wait.
You ain't my boyfriend, I ain't your girlfriend, but you don't want me to say nobody else, and I don't want you to say nobody.
Somehow it feels fitting that the 2019 year-end list is going to have Ariana Grande songs from 3 different albums on it. That being said, I think we need to put an asterisk next to this one because A, it's not from her album, and B, I don't know if this would count separately anyway since it's literally just Thank You Next as a duet.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, so thank you next. You ain't my boyfriend, I ain't your girlfriend, but you don't want me to touch nobody else.
It's the same song. There is no difference, though I will be the first one to admit that there are certainly worse things to be than a Thank You Next clone. The 2 guys from Social House aren't great singers by any means, but they do have that knack producers often have of knowing what vocal effects to use to make their voices work without distorting them too heavily. I will say that it's kind of bizarre to have both of the guys singing alongside Ariana, since this is supposed to be a song about a couple working through their issues over labels, but whatever. It's all about the sound, and the sound is cool enough.
But you don't want me to say nobody else, and I don't want you to say nobody.
Not much to say about it, really. It just sounds good, and sometimes that's all you need.
Oh, I've been dreaming about it.
Seriously, song, please don't fuck up the trajectory of Khalid's career. We really need him to be good. This song technically doesn't get removed under the album bomb rules, but it still absolutely would not be in the top 20 if not for Hollywood's Bleeding, and my thoughts on it haven't really changed since September, so if we're gonna spend time talking about Posty, then we might as well spend it talking about...
Let it go. Seasons change and our love went cold. Feed the flag 'cause we can't let go.
It might seem like a strange choice to drop this song as a single only a week before the full album was released, but honestly I think his timing couldn't have been better because this is a perfect song for the transition from summer into fall. Not only is the phrase seasons change literally the first 2 words of the hook, but the overall vibe I get from this song is relaxed contentment as indicated by the dreamy, atmospheric guitars, subtle synth work, and high reverb on the vocals, but still with an undercurrent of work to be done, which is shown through the bouncy bass line and the higher energy percussion. It gives the song a kind of mid-energy vibe that fits in perfectly with the sensation that it's time to wrap up the past few months of fun and relaxation and get back into the rhythm of the work year. I feel like if this song had been released with the album, it might have gotten lost in the shuffle a bit, but I can tell you that I had this song playing on repeat while I was getting ready to head back to school, so I think this song's release was timed impeccably. In fact, it's pretty much the opposite of what Megan Thee Stallion did with Hot Girl Summer.
I'm a hot girl, so you know when shit's stopping.
I mean, come on, Megan. I know that little catchphrase of yours didn't become a meme until the end of June, but was it really worth it to delay the song's release by several weeks just because you wanted Nicki Minaj on it? And was it even worth making a pool party music video if you can't get it out till September? And also, why the hell is Ty Dolla $ign singing the hook on a song called Hot Girl Summer?
I'm no good at goodbyes. We're both acting insane, but you're stubborn to change. Now I'm drinking again, 80 proof in my veins.
This song is everything Better Now should have been. You got richer production, more dynamic and interesting melodies, a more cathartic and heartbreaking narrative, a guest verse by a goose. I mean, what more could you possibly ask for?
My heart get possessive, it got you precise. Can you not turn off the TV? I'm watching it fight.
Yes, surprise, surprise, Young Thug's verse is the reason this missed the excellent tier. The thing is, though, there have been a few times where Thugger's bizarre caterwauling has clicked into place for me, and the entire song became this crazy spiral down the rabbit hole of bitter dejection, but most of the time... yeah.
Looking over the ass, don't fuck with me tonight.
I remember remember seeing someone on Twitter call this song a perfect way to calm yourself down when you're angry, and I think that's really the best way to describe it. Post may spend the song ranting about everything he hates about his failing, stagnant relationship, but the melody has such a natural let-off of tension that by the end of the chorus, all the rage has just been siphoned from your system and you feel completely at ease. It really is a great song, and if Thugger's guest verse starts to click with me more consistently, then who knows, maybe by the end of the year it'll be in.
I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch.
It's hard to believe that this song became not just a #1 hit, but the longest running #1 hit by a solo female rapper ever, but at the same time, it somehow also makes perfect sense. This is the girl power anthem that so many others have tried and failed to make, projecting so much confidence and infectious swagger while being about overcoming her vulnerabilities rather than pretending that they don't exist. It's an extremely human song is what I'm getting at, and if I were a girl, I'm pretty sure this would have a permanent reservation on top of this ranking until the end of time. But last I heard, the rumor around the water cooler is that I am, in fact, not a girl, and because of that, I really can't shake the sensation that this song wasn't made for me. However, that's not a criticism of Truth Hurts, because duh, of course the song wasn't made for straight white guys. That doesn't mean that I can't appreciate what this song means for others, or that I don't find the hook really catchy, or the more blanket assertions of confidence uplifting. And most importantly of all, this song has proven that a non-starter song from years ago can become a massive sleeper hit in our current era, and I think we all know what that means.
Pineapple apple pen.
Your time is now, Picotaro. Fly. So, do you remember that video I put out about a month ago where I said that a song about a love story between two 12-year-olds was inherently a stupid idea that could never work?
You were 5th grade, I was 6 when we came to be.
Well, they say that there's an exception to every rule, and it just so happens that there's a guy in the top 20 right now who's basically made a career out of being the exception to any given rule. He is a mad lad, and we are not worthy of him.
Hey Panini, don't you be a meanie. Thought you wanted me to go, or why you tryna keep me teeny?
I was fully ready to dismiss Lil Nas X as the Old Town Road guy, to just accept his success as the product of 1,000 trends aligning perfectly to create one single generation-defining smash hit, with nothing else worth looking at outside of that. The first few times I heard Panini, I thought it was nothing but a second-rate Travis Scott ripoff that totally misunderstood the point of what it's homaging, since the actual relationship between the cartoon characters that this song is singing about can pretty accurately be described like this.
Oh, hi, Chowder. I'm not your boyfriend! Hey, are those cookies?
Just say to me what you want from me.
So, yeah, disposable song that misses the point and doesn't do anything interesting, I thought. But then I found myself whistling that intro in the car, and the next thing I know, the Nirvana sample is stuck in my head. And suddenly I have all the lyrics memorized without trying to, and then I realized that it's not a real love song, but instead uses the name Panini as nomenclature for his fans who were obsessed with him when he was underground but abandoned him once he became a household name, symbolizing his desire for attaining success without losing that genuine connection that an artist can only have with their fans when they're still small enough to interact with them on a personal level.
Thought you wanted me to go, or why you tryna keep me teeny? I got fans finally, ain't you wanting them to see me? Now they need me, #1 on screaming. No, yeah, you used to love me, so what happened, what's the meaning? I said you wanted to see me thrive. You lied.
I've got to be honest, as a smaller content creator, this is something that I've thought about a lot. I really love interacting with you guys on a personal level in the comments and such, but at the same time, I still do want the channel to keep growing, and I hope that if the channel ever really does blow up, I won't lose that sense of community and camaraderie that I feel with you guys. I never realized that I wanted a song that spoke to this concern, but now that we've got one, I couldn't be happier with it. And as for my thoughts on the DaBaby remix, I'll just say this. I feel like all things considered, the hip-hop community has done a decent job accepting Lil Nas X as a gay man on top of a historically homophobic genre, but it's not lost on me that the entire point of DaBaby's verse on this song seems to be, just because I'm on a Nas X song doesn't mean I don't like girls.
They like girls and I like girls 3 at a time, sometimes 4.
Needless to say, I keep a check. She was a bad, nevertheless.
Ah, Sunflower. Nearly a year on the Hot 100, a record-tying 33 weeks in the top 10, climbing its way up the biggest hits of all time list, only the second song to ever appear in 4 of my top 20 rankings, and still just as good as the first time I ever heard it. I mentioned before the people were sick of the same song sticking around on the charts forever, but Sunflower is the exception to the rule, because if there was ever a song that deserved to be overplayed, it was this one. It's been in the excellent tier at all 4 of my 2019 rankings, and if it somehow manages to get a 5th, it'll stay parked right where it is. The fact that it happens to be the theme song to one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life is the cherry on top. Throughout all the insanity of 2019, this song has been the one constant, and frankly, I can't think of a better song to fill that role. And on the subject of record breaking,
Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing.
I legitimately don't think that there has ever been a song on the Hot 100 with more facets to discuss than this one. Just to put things into perspective, since I finished writing the script for my summer ranking back in June, not only has this song smashed One Sweet Day's record to become by far the longest running #1 hit in Billboard history, but that legendary run at #1 had its numbers bolstered by a series of different remixes, and, in the midst of all of it, Lil Nas X came out as gay. Any one of those 3 things would give me enough material to fill an entire segment in a ranking like this, and that's on top of everything else there is to say about this song, including, let me just see here, the trap versus country angle, the Billboard controversy, the Billy Ray Cyrus legacy, the 9 Inch Nails sample, the generational crossover, viral marketing, the TikTok challenges, the fine line between parody and earnest, and the cultural movements that drove and resulted from this song's success, just to name a few. The reason I did not give this song an in-depth analysis last time, nor will I do it this time, is because this song deserves so much more than an abbreviated summary in a short segment of a ranking like this. I hate to leave you guys on a cliffhanger yet again, but trust me, I've got plans for how to deal with this song, and soon enough, everything is gonna become clear. For now, all I'll say is this. Much like Sunflower, this song hasn't shrunk on me in the slightest in all the months I've been listening to it. It still strikes the same balance of goofiness and sincerity that made me fall in love with it in the first place, and I fully believe that it deserves its spot as the longest running #1 hit of all time. And what the hell, I'll also give you my thoughts on every version that exists now. Meh, iconic, underwhelming, awesome, bizarre, Saweetie's id made manifest. I was gonna try to come up with some sort of witty lead-in to my #1, but you know what? The lead singer of Black Sabbath is in the top 10. There's no point being coy about it.
Why don't you take what you want from me? Take what you need from me. Take what you wanna go.
I never needed anything from you.
Sean, are you just putting this song on top because you've been whining for years about the death of rock and roll, and so the second you see a god of hard rock in the top 10 backed up by a badass metal guitar solo, you instinctively put it on top without thinking about it? Yes. And it's pretty accurate. Yes.
I feel you crumble in my arms down to your heart of stone.
I won't lie to you. I'm not a hardcore Sabbath fan or anything, but the second I saw Ozzy Osbourne's name on the track list of Hollywood's Bleeding, I listened to it immediately, and it instantly became my favorite song on the album and one of my favorite of the year. However, I don't think that pure hype and rock and roll fanboyism alone can account for the fact that every single time I listen to this song, my appreciation for it only grows deeper and deeper. Because believe it or not, while I can't overstate how excited I am that an honest-to-God rock anthem has managed to stay in the top 20 for a good few weeks, I actually now appreciate Take What You Want not just as a rock song, but as a perfect fusion between rock and trap. Post Malone's reputation as this avant-garde genre blender has always seemed overstated to me, but I can't think of any other popular artist right now who would think to mix Ozzy Osbourne's old-school metal appeal with Travis Scott's atmospheric auto-tuned-laced trap production, and yet somehow it all feels second nature.
Long as you know I'll never be
I honestly love Travis Scott's verse just as much as I love Ozzy's, and Post Malone bridges the gap between the two of them immaculately.
For heaven's sake, my bones will break, but you never own my soul.
No part of this song feels forced or unnatural, and the result is a moody trap metal anthem oozing with atmosphere that's unlike anything I've ever heard before, on the charts or off. The only criticism I have is that Travis's lyrics are a bit off topic, but that's really easy to forgive when the vibes he's giving off mix with Ozzy and Posty's vibes so beautifully. This truly is not just one of my favorite songs of the year, but also one that means the world to me, and I desperately hope that they manage to get a video together for it soon. This song may be the breakout sleeper hit from Hollywood's Bleeding, but it's currently in prime position to get caught between years, and it's gonna need some serious promotion if it's going to keep its momentum up. But even if this song doesn't make the year-end list, that can't take away from what a glorious love letter to the past and present of popular music it is. And I know that I'm going to be listening to this one for years to come. So that's fall 2019 for you. We've got one terrible song, one bad song, 3 mess songs, 3 decent songs, 7 good songs, and 5 excellent songs. Tallying it all up, that gives us a 69 out of 100, an increase from the 63 out of 100 we had in the summer, and even 1 point higher than the 68 we had in the spring to claim the new record for the highest rating of any top 20 I've ever talked about. It feels really strange to say that since I'm more than ready for a lot of these songs to phase out, but if I take a step back and listen to them with fresh ears, I can't deny that we've got some really good stuff here. Considering that last year's Fall Top 20 was the lowest score I've ever given, it's safe to say that any sort of pattern we might have had going is completely out the window, so I'm not even going to try to predict where music quality is heading going forward. All I know is that winter has always been a historically interesting time for music, and so that only makes all of this uncertainty all the more exciting. And in case you were wondering what the ranking would look like if we ranked the actual Top 20 without taking out all the Post Malone songs, here you go. Good stuff, good stuff. And speaking of which, I think it's about time to take a look at...
Probably don't wanna let your baby mama take a picture. Cause I'm the type of baby that's gon' fuck the babysitter. I just did a show and put up laughing on a hating nigga.
I feel like we're currently in an arms race to see how many references to babies we can get on the Hot 100 at once. What with 2 of the biggest rappers right now being called Lil Baby and DaBaby, who incidentally currently have a collaboration song called Baby that's on its way up the charts as we speak. I think the inherent ridiculousness of this entire enterprise has caused people to dismiss any songs with baby in the title out of hand, but honestly I don't think they've been that bad. This song, Babysitter, is a collaboration between DaBaby and Offset of Migos, and while I don't think it's a great song by any means, I still chose to highlight it here because it's a good highlight of DaBaby's strength as a rapper, which I think it's important to recognize how he stands out of the baby storm. The lyrics are pretty explicit and it's nothing but flexing, but I think DaBaby does demonstrate some pretty genuine charisma here, and there are some decent punchlines. It also continues the trend of working with simple but still really infectious swamped out bass lines, and Offset does the same empty fire spitting that he always does. All in all, this isn't a song that I see myself returning to that often, but it did help me recognize some of the appeal of one of the hottest up and coming rappers out there, so I think it's worth checking out for that reason alone.
I remember hitting them all with the whole team. Now a nigga can't answer calls cause I'm balling. I was waking up getting racks in the morning. I was broke, now I'm rich, these niggas salty.
Considering that Sharon and I devoted a spot on our worst of 2014 list to literally every song that DJ Mustard put out in 2014, it seems kind of bizarre that not only is he still here in 2019, but he's actually good. He kind of reminds me of Maroon 5 in the sense that he's got a very distinctive sound, and the further he gets from that sound, the better he is, and this song is a pretty good example of that. The beat here is a nicely layered R&B throwback with a couple classic vocal samples mixed in, and it fits the introspective tone as featured artist Roddy Ricch reflects on his past. I don't really know anything about this guy or what he's done before, but on this song he seems to be trying to bridge the gap between Thugger and A Boogie, and he does this while spitting out a fairly standard but still effective story of his rags to riches rise to stardom, mixed in with some flexing. Still, the star of the show here is DJ Mustard, or just Mustard as he's known now. It might not be the deepest thing in the world, but then again, this is a producer-driven R&B cut. Being deep and meaningful isn't really the point, and for what it's trying to do, it does it well. Check it out. Man, the Cyrus family has been having a good-ass year. I'll be honest, while I do think that the other two songs in this section are worth recommending for various reasons, this is the only songs in the charts in need of attention right now that I legitimately love. Well, except for La La La, but that song is a special case. Regardless, it really is sad that Miley Cyrus's career seems to have dried up at the same time that her immaturity did, because Slide Away is a devastating breakup song from a woman who went through a painful and well-publicized divorce earlier this year. If she had released this song in 2013, I'm sure it would have been either whiny or catty, and in any case, I'm sure that neither party in the song would have walked out of it looking good. And what's amazing is that Miley is still very upfront at how distraught she is at what she's lost. One of the saddest lines in the song isn't even about her ex-husband, but about how she misses her old house that was burned down in the California wildfires last year. However, she's made an agreement with herself to let it all. The house, the happiness, the relationship with Liam Hemsworth that's been on and off since 2009. To let it all slide away. This sentiment is supported beautifully through the production, which is somber and atmospheric with a real aura of pain and loss about it, but still resolving into the major key as she resolves to look forward. I never thought I could emotionally connect to a Miley Cyrus song, but she proved me absolutely wrong with one of the best breakup songs and indeed one of the best pop songs of the year. Excellent track, definitely worth a listen.
I got your bitch singing la 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 la.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
So this video was actually a bit of a first for me, because instead of looking at the charts myself to determine what shoutouts to give, I actually opened it up to suggestions from you in the community tab, and you guys came through with more than 100 comments full of recommendations, which was awesome. I fully intend to do this with every top 20 ranking I make going forward. Like I said before, I love interacting with you guys and hearing your thoughts on the music and my opinion, so be sure to check out my community tab where I go almost every day to post updates, random thoughts, and other miscellaneous stuff, and be sure to leave a comment on this video with your thoughts on the music I talked about, or my opinions, or anything else that you want to talk about. If you liked what you saw today and you're not already subscribed to me, it would mean the world to me if you'd click that snazzy red button and dubious gray bell down there. And if you thought the video was extra swell, I'd really appreciate a like as well. The waters of YouTube are growing ever choppier as we head into the new decade, and those likes, comments, and subscriptions really keep the visibility of the channel up. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for your continued support. I'm Sean Fay-Wolfe of Diamond X Studios. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.
Wait if I move